Hey guys, this is Joe and Alex here in the tuning Q&A over at VMP Ranch. We're going to talk about what's been going on this week in the world of tuning, answer your questions, kind of talk about what's been going on, what's new, what's upcoming. Let's lead off with what happened this week. American Muscle was down here doing some testing on some of the new Mustangs. We took out our automatic A10 2018 Mustang GT along with their manual 2018 Mustang GT. Joe was there. Joe was doing the tuning, doing all the play-by-play. So I'm going to lean on him as to how our car performed and how does it stack up versus another 2018 that was there, Evan's car that went 11.8. How did our automatic Mustang do over at the OSW?
Compared to Evan's car, it did pretty good. Evan's car is 355s. It was a full performance pack car, basically a fully loaded car. Ours went 1189 compared to his. I think it was 1186 or 859 or something like that.
He has 355s in that car, right?
Yeah, it's a 355 car, and he was on the Michelins that come on the performance pack cars. It looks like a really sticky, like Pilot Sport style tire, whereas we were on like a P0 all season that comes on the base model cars.
And we have 315 gears.
And we have 315s. So the difference being 0.03 of a second isn't too bad.
Right.
It tells us that the cars are pretty consistent.
Now, we took that car out before and went to the track, and we got kind of chastised by internet experts, guys that don't race, don't do anything. They said, well, your car is slow, everyone else is going 12.0.
Can't drive.
Can't drive. It's an auto, guys. What the heck? And then it was a 12.3 car the first time we went. Then we went on a day that was a little nicer, better, density, altitude,
We took the radials off
Took the radials off of it, took the drag radials off, put the stock tires back on, and lo and behold, it went faster. So it went from 12.3 to 11.8. And the difference was take the tires off and better air.
Yep.
But air doesn't affect launch, air doesn't affect anything according to the internet experts.
No, doesn't affect mile an hour,
Nothing.
ET, nothing.
No. So basically, now what you're seeing is the 2018 Mustang is a legit 11-second car, showroom floor, not like the Camaro, where the unicorn 11-second Camaro out there, but it's a definite 11-second car in automatic form. And manual numbers, we'll announce them later and let them, kind of get their media out there, but it ran a real good number also in manual form. So also, we wanted to talk about something that we just got permission to talk about. One of our customers who built a 13 GT500, well-known friend of Joe's, Grant, has a pretty baller car. We love it. I wanted Joe to talk about what it did this weekend, how much power it makes, because before it was kind of a secret. We want to keep it on the down low, but he gave us permission to talk about it, so I'd like to let Joe talk about that GT500 we built.
Okay, yeah, we built Grant's car probably we finished the build 2-3 months ago, something like that. Yeah. The car makes 960 to 930 depending on what throttle body combo's on it on the dyno. It's our VMP Gen 2R, an L&M built 5.8 with L&M specific custom grind cams. Compression is right around stock, if not a tad bit lower.
Right.
ARH long tubes, JLT 148. It's got a Whipple monoblade on it right now, and 2.4 upper, 10% lower. We did some other kind of secret squirrel, not secret squirrel shit to it. It makes 1100 and 1100 square on the secret squirrel stuff, but it went 970 on blower, full weight car on a ET Pro with a 1.5, like a 1.565 60 foot on that one, or like a 1.6. We basically have to get the suspension dialed in. It's been we dropped some strange strut shocks in it, centered them on the adjustments, and just let it ride just to see what it did.
Right.
And it hooks decent, but it has kind of like a little bit of a dip and a rise as it leaves the hit. But I feel like once we get the suspension dialed in and the way the sauce comes in, it should be a 9.1 on Gen 2R, maybe a 890 if we could really get it to leave in a bias ply or something.
Right. Now this is a full weight, no gutting, nothing, 13 GT500 manual still. The guy can drive it.
Mantic triple disc.
Mantic triple disc clutch.
Well, those guys that say they don't hold,
yeah, they don't hold and
wheel.
They burn up and all this stuff. And this thing made 1100 wheel, and it has had no issues. The guy can drive it. The guy takes it to the track. He does a bunch of hooning on the street.
Drives it to and from the track.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that we're just proud of because he comes here, builds a car, runs an insane number, makes a good number, and it has the potential of being a low 9-second car in stick form.
And I mean, on the sauce, it's 940s with a 1.560 foot.
At 151, 150?
Like 152.
So he needs a parachute mount. He's one of those guys that needs it eventually, but we'll see. We'll see. He's a street car guy. So we're proud of that. So that's what happened in the last week. GT500 we built, ran a great number. 2018 Mustang is a proven 11-second car stock. So we're going to be happy to throw some good fuel in it, do some, some runs at the track, see if we can get that number down. Lund Racing is running 11.3 in theirs. Congrats to them. Up in great air in E85. So we just have to be on par and see what we can do until we can get a blower on it and see if we can party.
Yeah, and at the track day, all we did was 93 stuff.
93 octane, yeah,
93
no
only.
85, no nothing.
Nope.
Very good.
Nope.
What's up, Carrie?
So a couple things. So I kind of want to mention that this is our first time. We're live on both YouTube and on Facebook. So we're going to have some questions coming in from both channels. Right. So if you don't see, those who are on Facebook, if you don't see the questions, it's probably because they're coming from YouTube. So that's number one. Number two, if you like this broadcast, we encourage you to like it and to share it. The more likes and shares that you get, the greater the reach, and the more we'll be able to produce more of these type of programs. With that said, we do have some questions coming in on both channels.
So what's Justin saying?
Justin has not said anything yet,
Whoa,
so
okay.
we're good there. But I'm sure he's watching. Justin, give us a like if you're watching. So on YouTube, Tony is asking. He says, "Can someone tell me how much the fuel injectors on a ProCharger Stage 2 kit will support? I keep getting different answers from people. This is for a 2014 automatic GT with a P1X head unit."
P1X. You got to
Probably the 47s that I'll use.
If it's a Stage 2, they've been using Deechworks 60s.
In the 11 to 14 stuff?
I think so.
Okay.
If I'm with the P1X, you got to spin it up.
The newer kit. I'm
Right.
thinking the older stuff.
Yeah, the oldest, like the P1 and the P1X, if you spin them the same RPM, you're not going to make any more power on the P1X. But when you spin the P1X way up, it just makes a ton. What would you say on pump gas? Because look, we're not talking E85 or race gas. On 60s with a ProCharge P1X on pump gas, what do you think the limit is on something like that?
It depends on whether or not it's running cap protection, because you'll lose 20% of your fueling in cap protection.
Let's say off-road exhaust, race car, because he's asking power.
Tony says the kit states that it comes with a 52-pound injector.
Okay, so it's a GT500 injector basically. Okay, good.
If it's just the GT500 injector, if your RPM is going to be your limiting factor more so than the gasoline-based fuel, if you were like 7,000 RPM, you'd probably be good to 750s on that injector. If you're going 7,500 to 8,000 RPM, probably closer to 700.
So yeah, he's going to run out of fuel the higher RPM he goes, and that is on a gasoline-based fuel, whether it's 260 GT, MS109. But
something around a 14.0 to like 15.3 stoic point
in that realm.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of people want to know horsepower limits for injector. I've seen people actually, grab, 1,000 cc or 95 pound an hour injectors and throw them
also responded no catalytic converters and 93 octane.
Yeah, we already pretty much said. We assumed he didn't because, he's saying how much power, so we didn't throw cap protection in there. If you throw cap protection in there, it kind of throws everything off. It needs to go like 0.7 to cool the cats, make sure they don't burn up and clog up and blow your stuff up, and it kind of throws a loop into the equation. But generally, what Joe said tends to be correct.
Mike wants to know, how do we compare our VMP with the Whipple to use on a 2017 Mustang GTPP premium package?
You know what? I'm going to answer this question.
I don't understand the question, though. How do you compare it?
How do you compare it? This is what I'm going to do. Okay. 10 pounds a boost, 10 pounds a boost. 2.3 TVS VMP to a 2.9 Whipple. I'd say ours makes more torque, period. Makes more torque, period. And I'd say in a drag strip, you're probably going to have comparable performance, being that one is 0.6 liters smaller. But I'm saying 10 pounds of boost for 10 pounds of boost. Once you start throwing it way up in the air, one of them loses efficiency, one of them stays a little more efficient. So it all depends on what you want to do, right? If you're a quarter-mile guy and you're on 10 pounds of boost and you don't want to go anything under let's say a 79 millimeter pulley, 11 pounds, and then whatever combination on the Whipple is, on the hit, I guarantee the TVS is going to be out on the car, out on the Whipple car. The Whipple car might come around it at the top because it's just displacement and it makes good power up top. But it all depends on what you want to do. I've seen races where two 10-pound cars, depending on fuels, and let's say they're both tuned by the same person, I've seen the 2.3 liter TVS walk away from them, and I've seen other versions where the Whipple stays there or beats it at the top. So
that and 2.3, we were 82 millimeter pulley, 5% lower, E85. Granted on kill, but we went 990s right at that 10.5 pounds of boost.
So it's basically a 79 millimeter pulley at that point.
Yeah, basically
So
79.
on the red car.
Yeah, on the red car.
So the red car went 990s on E85 on kill. Yes, we were leaning on it, but it's a 9-second combination. And if you go to anywhere,
And that was all stock exhaust.
Stock exhaust. I still have
Stock exhaust, stock suspension.
I recently bought that car. It still has a suitcase. It still has the exhaust. It didn't have headers. It didn't have anything.
It was on a twin 67. It wasn't even on a mono.
Exactly. So if you go to any of the videos on VMP Performance, you will see that red car run that number on basically 10 pounds of boost on 85. So that'll answer your question. But again, that car was on kill, so that's nothing we'd kind of encourage you guys to do. But I'd say they're comparable. Obviously, boost is going to be, relative. If you have a 20% lower and a 3.1 upper on a Whipple car, it's going to make 900 horse. But Grant's car is making 900 horse. So it all depends on how you want the power to come in. That's my answer.
Nickel Banshee says, wants to know if we do tuning for ProCharger and Paxton.
Yes.
What do we offer?
We offer tuning for ProCharger and Paxton.
Either or. If you have an S550, 15 to 17 S550, you got a Paxton, we'll tune it. You got a ProCharger, we'll tune it. You got Hellion Twins, we'll tune it. Not a problem.
Same with 11 to 14.
Same thing with 11 to 14, correct.
Myers Performance says, what's up, VMP Performance? Awesome way to communicate with your subscribers. Do you all have any experience with the 2018 DIPI utilizing E85 and or the Whipple 3.0?
Not yet.
Whipple, we haven't used the Whipple 3.0, but we've played around with the DIPI stuff in E85 2018.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I did all that stuff a couple weeks ago.
Right.
Yeah, I mean we played with it, but we haven't played with the 3.0.
No 3.0 yet.
I'm going to take another question from YouTube, and then I'm going to switch over to Facebook.
Sure.
Alexander says, I have a 13 Coyote with a Roush Charger with 79 millimeter pulley. Are long tube headers worth adding?
I mean, if you want the sound,
If you
they'd
want
be
the
great
sound,
to add.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you want to have it to sound real good, have a little less cylinder pressure, have it be a little free-flowing, yeah, sure, it sounds great, flows well.
You just have to justify the
cost.
$1,300 for what'll probably be 10, 15 horsepower at that level, if that.
Right, you're not going to get 50 horse from headers. This isn't a Camaro from 1969 that is clogged up. This is an efficient car. If you look at the stock,
They basically have tri-wise stock.
yeah, the stock manifolds are like pretty darn good. They're tubular. They're well made. Long tube headers are more for sound and then for future upgrades for big horsepower stuff. But I never upgraded my personal car to long tubes, and the car was a bottom 10-second car with pretty tame boost levels. So it's not necessary, but if you want to sound really exotic and nice, absolutely.
And you'll certainly gain power. It's just not, in my opinion, a lot at the 600, 630 level.
In my opinion, the best sounding exhaust ever, this is my personal opinion, long tubes, free-flowing exhaust, you know what that means, and GT500 GT500 axle backs. Perfect sounding car, not loud, not drony, not stupid.
Referencing Grant's car.
Grant's
he
car.
runs the same setup.
Most GT500 owners that build their cars, they go, what can I go for exhaust? Stock. Stock is perfect on these cars.
Stock mufflers.
Stock mufflers.
I'm going to switch over to Facebook for a minute. Tim says, what do you guys do at Carlisle?
Everything.
You name it. Installs, tuning, shirts, everything. We last year we had some help, and Ben Calamer and Kellen Stone came over and helped us install throttle bodies, install the blower. I did pulleys. No exhaust work. We don't do exhaust work. We do stuff that you can do in the engine bay pretty quickly. You know, stage kits, upgraded kits like a 727,
727, 767.
Exactly. We'll do that, no problem, and then we'll tune it on the dyno. Sell shirts, product support, questions, all that stuff. You okay, Carrie? Having issues over there?
Yeah, my computer just locked up.
That's okay.
Sad.
It happens. But yeah, Carlisle, actually last year Carlisle was packed. It was unreal how many cars we got. I think I personally did like 20 cars or so. What's the busiest event you've ever done in terms of car count?
I have no idea.
Like, have you ever been on, oh no, Bowling Green 2 years
We're
ago?
good now.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, we were packed, and then
Then we decided to do R&D on the dyno.
yeah, that was bad. Got us packed up, but
Okay.
we made it through. I don't know if James Calvin's watching, but we did his car that weekend, and
Oh, okay.
a few other guys.
Yeah,
Can't think of names right now, but they knew who they are.
exactly.
I have some more questions here, guys.
Go for it.
So we have Mario wants to know if he can data log with an SCT X3.
You sure can.
As long as it's a 11 to 14 car. 15 and up, no.
Well, you can still data log.
You can data log?
You
It'll
can data
still-
log 15
okay,
up
but you
stuff.
can't flash.
You can't flash.
Got it. See, you shut me up.
Andy says, what kind of gains do you see when you go from a 93 tune and Torco to E85? I have a stage 3 kit, ID 1000, and tuned by VMP. I'll be switching to a Ford dual pump system, 75 millimeter pulley with a Bosch short block.
It really depends on what the car is taking for spark on the 93 and Torco. If it's really happy on the 93 and Torco, like let's call it, it's happy at 19, 20 degrees with you're probably on a 79 right now.
Right.
Going to E85, we can push it harder, probably like, call it 3 more degrees, maybe, depending on how it likes it. So you'd only gain 25, 35 horsepower at that level. But if you were on a just basic 93 and the car was only happy at 16, 17 degrees, you could gain 70, 80 horsepower pretty easily on E85.
Just seems to be happier overall on E85. If you ever put E85 in the car and you just idle the car, you're like, it's idling smoother. It does everything smoother. It doesn't cold start smoother, but it does everything else pretty smoothly. So yeah, I've seen pretty sizable gains with the 85. You can lean on it. Spark is there. The reason we recommend the 85 to most of the people, especially if you're in the cornfield area and then somewhere where it's readily available, is because we don't have to worry about octane. A lot of people say, well, I want to make 700 on 93. No, because if you go to Marathon and you fill up on 93, it's not the same as if you go to Shell, Texaco, BP, Kroger, or Sam's Club. It's just
how long the fuel's been in
the tank. Exactly.
William wants to know, when are we going to start tuning Corvettes?
William Hunt. I know
You
who
got
that is.
it.
He wants me to tune his.
Nah.
He got a C7.
Why? He wants to go slow?
Targa. He seems to like the Targa.
It's a nice car. It's a nice car. They're like 11.8, 11.7 car stock, automatic. We're not going to tune Corvettes. Not for a while.
Not soon.
Not for a while. But
It'll be a little while, William.
He might do it for you, but as a business, I don't think we're going to be getting. We're busy enough with Mustang.
Yeah.
So I don't think we'll be getting to Corvette soon.
Niraj wants to know, on the GT500 you're talking about, does it have upgraded axles?
It does. It has a Moser 33 spline axles, gun drilled with Detroit True Track.
Yeah, the car is completely built.
We kind of built everything on that car proactively. He didn't even break the rear end. We wanted to build it before it broke so that all the stock stuff's still resellable. And the engine we built before it broke because I don't think you can get 5.8 blocks anymore.
Right. And it's a Calimer built 6060.
Yep, Calimer built 6060. He
Yes.
loves that thing. He says that made a night and day difference. He has to relearn to drive the car because he used to have to wait to pull it in second or third
jam
gear.
it in now.
He's like, it just goes in like butter, and he loves the Manic triple disc. Says
The one that burns up all the time, apparently?
Yeah. Oh god. But imagine that installed properly.
Installed properly, broken in properly, and it is fine. No issues.
Yeah, slips the clutch properly on the first 60 foot, doesn't feather it out to $6,000 and bring it in at the 330.
Colin said, was there anything, I think probably we'll save this one, wanted to know if there was anything exciting at PRI that you saw that you think will change the industry. But we have a load of questions to kind of get through, so maybe we'll hold that one till the end.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we can hold
That'll
that.
Good with that. William wants to know, when do you recommend a switch to a returnless fuel system on a 2011 Coyote application? Is there a specific rear-wheel horsepower figure, or is it more in relation to going E85?
I think that he means return fuel system,
That's
but
fine. I would say the only reason you need that is when you're gonna go E85.
Yeah, because I mean, from a fuel flow standpoint, you can do almost 1,000 wheel on the stock returnless setup, or
With
returnless setup, since it returns in the hat.
Right.
But yeah, on a gasoline-based fuel, you can almost do 1,000 on the stock pump setup with a booster.
Yep. But once you go E85 and those fuel demands
Jump up by at least 30%.
you need a return south system, period. You can get away with a booster or some adjustable booster, but you know what? I wouldn't rely on that on E85. No way.
Yeah.
I have another question from YouTube that's kind of been sitting there. So he wants to know how much horsepower can I make on a booster pump on E85 on a S550?
You can make a lot of power, but you shouldn't be doing that if you're blower. Even if you're NA, you can still go 600 horsepower NA. That's just like running a blower without a booster, like a Roush 670 kit.
Yep.
The one that doesn't come with a booster, it's 600 horsepower, no booster.
Right.
So there's not really too much of a difference from that standpoint, other than that you're at E85, cut the volume by a little bit, call it 500, 550 wheel. You don't need a booster on E85.
But he wants to know how much can you make on E85 and a booster. Well, I'm not even going to entertain that question because you shouldn't do that on E85 with a booster and a boosted car.
Yeah.
Go return style fuel system. Why?
He says it's NA.
NA?
Yeah, if it's NA, you don't you don't need a booster. It's something that's nice to have just so you have the extra headroom and you don't have to worry about it. But it's not an absolute necessity.
Yeah, NA you can go, whatever, But once you go blower, it kind of changes everything.
Yeah.
Roger wants to know, and I'm probably going to pronounce this incorrectly,
okay.
thoughts on a Siley
fuel system.
Dual pump return fuel system for E85.
It gets the job done, but I like the 4 Innovation setup a lot more.
Yeah, it's a good budget system, and that's what it's marketed as. If you're looking to make south of 750 rear wheel horsepower, probably a good option. I get the 4 stuff, and I'm just like, wow, this stuff is just baller. It's made well, it's packaged well, it's plug and play for the most part. I just upgraded to 4's 3C controller. I got their regulator, and I'm gonna get a set of lines just to make a complete 4 system for the car because I've never had an issue, and I have tons of headroom. Twin 465 pumps will give me enough for 1,000 on E85.
And why put a fuel system in your car to still be handicapped by the fuel system in the future?
Exactly. You want to be able to have a fuel system that lets you grow up until you can't. And, 4, in my opinion, is a superior system. Siley's is a great budget system. But that's exactly what it is, a budget system that is going to be limiting one way or another.
Johnny's giving you a shout out. He says, my dog live again, swipe right.
I have no. Who's Johnny?
Johnny Nardi.
He should be working.
Oh.
He should be in the ticket system working. Okay, get in there, answer those tickets. Don't be looking on Facebook. Cheryl, he's on Facebook. Get him out of there.
Patrick says, how much better will the 2650 be over the 2.3 Gen 2R? And how much better is the new rotor pack to the old one?
Been covered in previous videos.
Yeah, it's been
about
covered.
30% better in airflow. Power, we'll see.
Yeah, there is no physical unit yet, but based on someone like Magnuson's findings in the airflow bench, everything seems to tell us it's going to be pretty awesome. 30% more airflow than the Gen 2 rotor pack. Than the 2300 rotor pack. So once we get one in our hands, wink, wink, we'll throw it on cars and we'll let you know power numbers then. But until then,
yeah, I'm not going to compare what ours is going to do compared to like the Edelbrock units and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Because if
it's a
people
completely different design.
if people are comparing Edelbrock units to what Edelbrock has a stock throttle body, a stock cold air, and you cannot pulley down and pulley size. You cannot compare the two. It's just not. It's apples and oranges.
This is just a shout out from Rick. He said, hey VMP guys, just had Justin to my 14 car on the dyno last month. He said he went to the track Saturday and went 10:03 at 135, 1.42, 60 foot through stock manifolds on that 75 millimeter pulley. And he says, thank you VMP.
Very good.
It's awesome. Congrats, man.
He's pretty excited.
That's about right for an auto car. On E85, I would think. Well, it's got 75 millimeter pulley, so maybe he's got race gas or something. Because 10.0, that's honking.
I know that. I think that guy, he bought the car from one of our older customers, and then Justin
updated
dyno tuned it. He did a couple things to it, but Can't remember the specific details, but still a great time for
Excellent, yeah.
a basic kit.
Yeah, very much.
Justin says he's got an 07 GT500 2.5 pulley CAI. Will the stock fuel system carry the L&M cams?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got the stock blower, right?
Yeah,
as long as he has a
2.5
stock
upper and cold air intake.
Yeah, as long as you have the stock blower, you're okay. If you have like a TVS, probably not.
Yeah, you'd be on a 2.5. It needs at least a booster, and you aren't going to run the 47s very well on that setup.
I'm going to shoot over here to YouTube real quick, so we have another question. Someone wants to know what rear shocks and springs are on the red VMP car.
Stock. Bone stock, all the way around.
And then Ryan says, when it comes to a 6R80 transmission tuning, do your tunes come set to the firmest and fastest they can be at what?
I would
Only
say,
if you ask for it to be set that way.
Yeah, we don't give you tunes that are just going to slam in a gear, you know, because you're always racing. You got to understand it. If you have a race-oriented 6R80, we're going to tune it differently than something that's mostly street-driven.
Yeah, you can't tune every car like to the guy that wants it hardest shifts possible, because then you get the complaints of, oh, well, it shifts too hard, or
Right.
oh, well, I want it to be a little bit smoother at watt. And it's like, all right, well, you asked for it to be hard, so we made it hard, and now it's too hard. A little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, just right. So it's better to start at the place where most people are happy, and then work your way towards the firmer stuff.
I've had people say, wow, I want in the email, I want firm shifts. So we give them a firm shift tune, it's too firm. So, you know, everyone's definition of firm changes. So we're in the middle, and then we can go one way or another depending on what you want. But to answer your question, no, they're not set to the firmest and the fastest and the most, no, they're set somewhere in the middle, and then we can cater to your needs based on your feel, basically.
Your personal taste.
Personal taste.
Yeah.
Justin is asking, let's see here, Gen 2 short block for 13, or just spend the money on manly parts for forged bottom end.
I've answered this question.
Manly parts.
Manly parts.
He says, problem is, I don't really have a reputable local builder. Goal is 8 to 850 wheel horsepower.
Yeah,
do a lot of internet research and build it yourself.
Build it yourself. I mean, look, it's rods and pistons. It's not rocket science. You know, you flip the sucker, you take them out, throw some slugs in. If you
wouldn't recommend doing sleeves yourself.
Exactly. Don't do sleeves, but everything else is just pretty straightforward. And if it's Justin Stevens, he's
different Justin.
Well, he's
Justin
asked the same.
Stevens
He's asked the same
in.
questions.
Yeah, but Justin Stevens just chimed in. He says no question today.
Okay, so if you're gonna do rods and pistons, it's basically an illuminator at that point. Okay, so what's an illuminator? It's a stock sleeved Coyote with
male pistons and molly and manly rods.
And manly rods. So basically, that's what you're building, a budget illuminator. Obviously, you don't have the better heads and all the stuff that some of the illuminators came with, but I mean, 800 wheel is no problem on a car with rods and pistons.
I'd say just bring the parts to your reputable machine shop, have them check the bores, check the deck, make sure everything's good, make sure none of the sleeves are cracked or anything silly. Have them hone it, and then tell them or ask them what size rings and whatnot you need if they have to bore it, and then get pistons and everything to match your bore size and throw it all together, make sure your bearing clearances are good. If you have to balance it and ride out.
Budget illuminator.
Yeah.
Pretty much at that point. Budget
Yeah,
illuminator.
I mean, illuminators even have stock head bolts. It's not even like they use ARP hardware in the head. So
Yeah, that's why I laugh when people are like, well, I'm just going to buy an illuminator. And I'm like, okay, so you're going to spend 10 grand on something you can build yourself for 2,500?
for some people, it's a nice fit because it's done, it's simple.
Put it in.
It works.
But if you can save 7 grand.
Don't have to worry about sleeves floating around inside the block because
That's true.
some machinist didn't install them right.
Exactly. So, yeah, he's right. If you want to pay for convenience, get an illuminator. If you are a do-it-yourself type guy, look into some rods and pistons, and it'll pretty much be the same thing.
A couple people just want to shout out and wish you guys a Merry Christmas.
Oh, Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays to some people.
They must be from the South, because up the North, they'd be like, Happy Holidays.
Yep.
Joshua is saying 07 GT500 upgrading to VMP Gen 2R, looking to make 650 to 700 rear wheel on 93 pump gas. E85 not easily available in my location. Should I go with ID 1050 fuel injectors?
If you want, you could also go. Oh, they stopped making the ID 725 when they released the X series. But yeah, the 1050s are a great injector. Yeah, just go with those.
1050X is a booster, 2.5, 10%.
Yeah, the 56s, 52s would work, but if you want headroom in the future, should you ever move to a location that has
ethanol,
easy access to ethanol, or if you just want to buy a couple drums of it, you already have the injectors for it. So
I'm sure the wife will love that. 55-gallon drums of E85 in the garage next to the washing machine. I'm sure they love that.
Makes the towel smell better. Or if you really want to make everything in the house smell good, FTW.
Oh yeah, FTW.
Everything can smell like purple drink.
Oh, it is. It's grape.
It's grape soda. You got a 55-gallon drum of grape soda? It's really expensive soda.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's Keelan or Kellen, but he says, hey Alex, what size is the Cobra Jet Mono and how does it compare to the 160 Mono as in size and gains? If you guys have any R&D numbers yet.
It depends on the...
Cobra Jet's like 150 something or 140 something.
I think it's like a 127, but it's not a round throttle body, so the measurement gets kind of funky on it.
Right.
So you're measuring diagonally to the largest diagonal on each end?
Yeah. We haven't tested the 160 on anything yet. So once we get one, which will probably be one of the in-house cars, we'll get an adapter made up, and we have data for the red car on a 69 and a 5 for the mono and FTW fuel, good fuel. But we'll throw 160 on there, E85, and see if it's comparable. But I can't imagine why it won't make real good numbers.
It'd probably make, on something at red cars level, 15, 20 horsepower more.
Yep, with that boost level. Right.
Yeah.
Jimmy says, what's the best blower combo for a 14 GT to make the horsepower close to a stock GT 500?
Which stock GT 500?
Right.
Because you got 3 different levels of power for GT 500. You have 0710, 1112, and then 1314.
1314. And if you want to make horsepower?
Stage 3 kit.
Yeah.
Stage 3 kit, because a stock GT 500 makes like 620 stock.
Right.
And that's what every stage 3 kit car in 93 makes.
Pretty much makes.
Yeah.
Yep. So if you want to be comparable to 1314 GT500 and not have to deal with stripes and all the other stuff, just get a stage 3 kit on an 11 to 14 car.
You remember the girl with the performance, the race red car that we did, Krista Vartan, I think her name was.
Was it the one where she raced a Hellcat?
Yeah. But if you're talking power-wise, comparing to a car that makes a lot of power stock, that car was a stage 3 kit with long tubes and put the gap band on a Hellcat.
Band. I mean,
Walking
gap.
away
It was
from
bad. There was video of it, and she literally left here, and her husband had a Hellcat, and he had her phone out. They did a roll over here, and she just like walked away from the dude. And that car had that basic stuff, basic stuff.
And air ride in 20s.
Air ride 20. She did it up. That was a nice car. And you know what? Hasn't been back. Just hanging out, having a good old time.
One of our other customers said that they saw her over by Millennia.
Racing someone?
Well, no. He was on the highway. She pulled up next to him. They honked and they left. And
she left.
As she drove by him, he saw the VMPPerformance license plate. And then I guess they exchanged
numbers,
haze through the windows on the road. It was a funny story.
Yeah, so if you see a red car on 20s, Vossen wheels,
and a VMPPerformance plate,
don't race it. Don't race
Unless you're over 700.
And don't care. It doesn't matter that she's a girl behind the wheel. She will gap your you know what.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump over to YouTube again real quick. Manuel says, hi guys, do you recommend the 12 PSI supercharged pulley on a stock 15 Coyote Stage 3? And does the 100-pound injector is it enough fuel?
Yeah. I wouldn't do a 75 on pump gas.
No. Yeah.
I would do that like on either race gas or 93 with Torco, but the injectors flow enough for either E85 or a gasoline-based fuel with a 75 millimeter pulley. You just have to make sure that your fuel pump assembly can handle the 75 millimeter pulley on E85, but the injector will.
Justin's saying, do you guys sell a TVS kit for a Coyote swap box body with power by the hour timing cover?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same one.
Yeah.
Our stage kits fit their stuff. Parker Go
Lightly.
In Houston has a VMP on his Saline Mustang with power by the hour brackets, power by the hour everything.
And if you're looking to buy it all in one place, Power by the Hour is one of our dealers, so you can just give them a call and they can make sure everything you need's all in one kit. Because we, in and of ourselves, don't have a kit specifically for swap cars
swaps, right,
with Power by the Hour brackets. it's something that Power by the Hour kind of put together.
Yeah.
So I'd get with them. They're one of our dealers. They can get you hooked up.
There you go.
Myers Performance jumping in again says, from your experience, highest recommended boost PSI for a S550 with stock lower.
What fuel?
Yeah, the fuel's kind of the limiting factor there. On 93, I wouldn't go below a 79. On 93 in race gas,
75.
I mean, you can do a 72 if the race gas is good.
Sweet, good, like.
If you're doing 93 in Torco, I really wouldn't go below 75. But if it's like a VP C16, MS109 or something like that, you can do a stock lower in a 69 or a 72 if you really want to party.
That thing will party. I'm telling you, the difference between a 75 and a 69 is something else. A lot of cars that are lazy out of the hole, automatic, and you pulley down one pulley size, it just changes the attitude of the car totally. So on race gas, you can go down to 69 on, like he said, Torco and 93, 75.
Yeah.
And straight pump gas, no smaller than a 79.
Yeah.
Don't laugh, but Jesus Christ says he has a Ford Coyote Swap Mustang, full exhaust, a 93 tune. What should I expect for number-wise once all done?
You said a 14 GT.
04 Coyote Swap Mustang.
Oh, okay. With a tune and a Coyote?
Full exhaust, 93 tune.
If it's like a 11 to 14 Coyote, probably 400, 415 wheel if
Tops.
it's on the higher end.
Exactly.
Good fuel. If it's a S550 Coyote, maybe 415, 420.
Yep. So in the low fours, if it's got like a aftermarket intake like a Boss or anything like that, your horsepower number will be higher. But if it's a stock manifold car with like a 110 cold air or PMOS 120, 410, 420, tops.
I would just look at whatever model year your engine is, look at what the manual cars are doing with that same configuration.
It'll be about the same.
Yeah, that's why I was saying.
Gotcha.
Just look at that stuff because then you get a better measure.
But it's in a different car. Why wouldn't it make more horsepower? Because it's in a completely different chassis.
No. All about that gear ratio, the tire size. Don't bring it in on a
Put it in
drag
a
radial.
Bug. I put a Coyote in a Bug. Want to make more power than in a Coyote?
Well, depends on what your parasitic multiplier is on a Mustang. If you're
1.3.
accounting, well, you're accounting for the weight of the vehicle. So the vehicle's lighter, so it's going to make a bigger number because the correction factor is lower.
Yes, yes. So same as anything that motor came in with. Just kind of look at that as a guideline. That'll help you out.
I'm going to jump back over to Facebook, y'all. Steve says, what kind of difference in E70 versus actual 85%?
From an octane standpoint, not much at all. From a fuel demand standpoint,
you should have said 15%.
Yeah, it would have been accurate.
15%. Next question.
From an octane standpoint, you probably notice no difference in power, but your fuel demand would be higher.
We've seen Arizona has E50.
Like E54.
You could still shove 2 degrees of timing in it. It's going to stink. It smells awful, but it takes the timing. The octane is still there at that level.
Yeah.
Oh, copy, paste. Carrie's out there.
I know.
Look, behind the scenes, guys, you guys got to understand what happens behind the scenes. I know you guys just see two guys up here talking. Behind the scenes, there's a whole bunch of people out there busting their butt, trying to get questions out, making sure the stream's good. So
making sure the audio's on point.
Exactly. So Carrie, Brian, and Chris, they're doing a great job. I just wanted to make sure you guys knew it's an operation back there. It's not just like plop an iPhone.
It's not a cell phone camera sitting on a stand.
Exactly.
So Ken says, how do you add 1 degree timing throughout the RPMs using SCT3?
Oh, go global, baby.
Global adder.
Global adder. Woo.
I hate global, but yeah, if you're just looking to add 1 degree through everything, just do it through global spark adder.
Global spark adder.
That's funny. That's like an industry inside joke.
Yeah, exactly.
Just set the multiplier to 2. Have some fun.
Dan says, on a S550, do you need a specific tune for Torco, or will the computer add timing by itself?
It depends on how the tune's configured, but 90% of our tunes, I'd say, it'll add timing.
It'll add, for some reason, some magic and whatever. These cars can sense the octane in the
magic
car.
And voodoo.
Magic and voodoo.
Yeah.
And it adds timing. Now, if you want to maximize it, you want to shove it in there as opposed to having the car added in, because if the car adds it in, there's a delay. If you shove it down its throat, it'll choke. So, so pretty much that's it depends on how the tune is configured. It'll add timing on its own. Ours adds timing on its own.
Mm-hmm.
We have answered this several times in the last 3 episodes, but
do you know the answer? Do you know the answer, Carrie?
I do know the answer,
okay.
but With that said, I'm going to have you guys answer it one more time, just because I know. So, 2650 for an 03 Cobra. Will it be available?
In development.
It is in development. Look, the Cobras are going crazy. Their O2 sensors are 10 years old now. They got to do something. They're going to start replacing parts, and they want to know if they
Why
can...
is my O2 voltage 88 instead of 92?
My God. My fuel pump socks are all worn away. I need a 2650. Look, it's in development. There is no set plan to do it because the last thing we need is a shelf full of 2650s for Cobras, and then nobody really wants them. So we're going to do a lot of vetting, developing, and see if it comes out. But a lot of guys are asking about it.
If you want to make sure it comes out, make sure you contact your senator.
Yes, exactly.
Send a letter to your senator.
Who's a senator here?
I think Justin's a senator.
It's probably the same guy asking the same question in different names throughout the whole forum. Like, you guys gonna make 2650 for a Cobra?
Or not?
I'm going to shoot over to YouTube for a second. Jason wants you to compare VMP blower versus a stage 2.3 Whipple on a 15 plus F-150.
I saw a post of a 2.9 Whipple truck, the older 2.9.
The rear feed 2.9?
Yeah, the rear. No, it was a front feed 2.9, but it was a Gen.
Oh, not the Gen 3.
Yeah, it was Gen 2. It was running it was crew cab truck 4x4, ran like a 12.3 or something on the high performance F-150s, and not terrible.
Right.
But our truck on
1150
on 93 and Torco is 1150.
It's 1150. Yeah. So basically, our truck has a 75 millimeter pulley.
I think it's 75.
And then Torco in 93 it went 1150. That's kind of your answer, you know, and it beats a Viper.
Jason says it was front feed, can be tuned.
Okay. Yeah. No. Look, ours went 1150. Proof's in the pudding right there.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got here.
And it's crew cab.
And it's
full weight.
Yeah, full weight. Yeah.
David is saying, will there be a VMP type supercharger like the new Ford and Roush with the throttle body moved to the front of the supercharger? And is this type of charger only made for the 2018 dual port injection system?
It's not dual port. It's
here we go.
It's port injection and DI. Short answer, yes.
Yeah. Basically, you'll start seeing stuff coming out. Ford released their front feed version, mainly because of hood clearances, and it's actually pretty darn efficient. A lot of people are freaking out over the Ford Performance Supercharger. Oh my God, the throttle body's so small. Do you know the Cadillac CTS-V, the Corvette ZR1? All of them have that little tiny opening in the front, and they do fine. Trust me, it's not going to be an issue.
Nolan wants to know, what are your thoughts on the Mac delete pipes versus long tubes?
Okay, like Mac Performance. We've installed them before on race vehicles, race-only vehicles that do not have a VIN.
They get the job done, especially if your cats are clogged.
Absolutely, yeah. They work well. Their instructions are pretty clear. They're quality, and after you put them in, they actually line up real nice. We like them. Now, for my money, if I'm gonna go that route, and if it's a budget thing, you can do that. But
especially if you can weld or have a buddy that welds, it's
you
a
need
nice
to know
option.
how to weld, because there is one of the pipes is sort of like egg-shaped, and you need to fill a good, 1/4 inch around both sides?
Yeah, a pro tip if you're going to install one of those, use an adjustable wrench to flare the end of the header flange out to fit it's like a round like 2 3/4 opening, but you're putting like a 2.5 inch egg in there, and you have to kind of like flare it out to get it to reach.
So a big adjustable on the end of it, and just kind of flare it out to lessen the gap that there is inside
Close
the
the
pipe.
gap, because you don't want to fill a 1/4 inch gap on stainless using a MIG.
Right, not fun.
No.
But we did it.
Yeah, and it's sealed.
It's sealed. It's all good.
Yeah.
Matt wants to know, what's your favorite, Engage or SCT?
Well, for logging, Engage is really convenient.
It is, because it has the SD card. It makes it convenient.
You go, boop, that's it. For tuners, I like to be able to select PIDs that I want to see, like most transmission stuff. It's a wash, right? If you're an end user and you're a layman, Engage is fine. Just hit a button, and the tuner already preloads or pre-configures or tells you what to select. That's enough. For me and Joe, we like either HP Tuner Scanner version or SCT's version, and we can see a lot more with that, but it is a little more
if you're an end user, the
involved.
Engage can be a bit more user-friendly, I guess is the easiest way to determine it, but they both will get the job done just fine.
Exactly.
You can data log them both. They both
log on the device. They both, can log many things. Different tuners can give you a different config for a N-Gage, certain tuners, and you can select different things on the N-Gage. Like you said, it's just more user friendly.
Yeah.
Ryan says, for a return style fuel system, what would be better, fuel rail or would factory suffice? Coyote motor.
Factory fuel rails are fine. You can do aftermarket fuel rails. I'd say the only good reason to do it is if you want to have the fuel flow through the rails, go back to the regulator, then back to the tank. If you're deadheading it, just use the stock rails.
Stock rails are fine. Now, if you want to get aftermarket rails to put things like a gauge, a fuel pressure sensor, anything like that, you can go aftermarket rails.
Honorado says Paxton set up on a 17 S550, thinking of adding water/meth injection. What are your opinions on 93 octane?
Now this is different because it's not
It's not PD blower.
Right.
It's Century. I mean, it works, but at the end of the day, you can put it in your tank or you can have it injected and have to rely on it. It just really depends on what you're comfortable with doing and what you're willing to budget in.
The only reason I'm not a big meth fan, because if you're relying on it and you're leaning it out in the tune and relying on the meth to add in, if you run out of meth, I know people say, who runs out of meth? There's fail safes. Trust me.
Well, not only that, with the way the stock ECUs and closed loop, even at watt, it's like, all right, well, even if it is adding in fuel, your trims are going to pull that fuel back to the same target lambda, so you're not running any richer. You're just kind of using the octane to your advantage, and then it's pulling fuel out using closed loop learning at watt. So it's like. So
let's say for instance you're tuned for meth, right? And you run out of meth. Now you're relying on the trims to basically, I don't know, if you run out of meth at mid watt pull, what's the worst that can happen?
If your tuner is locking in timing and not allowing the knock sensors to pull because he thinks there's meth in there or something silly like that, then you could potentially hurt it when you lose that octane at watt.
Okay.
But if your tuner's intelligent and he's letting the knock sensors do their thing, and he's not overly aggressive with the commanded spark, and he's allowing it to pull a reasonable amount of timing when it does sense knock, and there's not really a set downfall other than you might lose the race being 4 degrees down in timing.
Gotcha. So don't listen to what I said, listen to what Joe said.
No. Do it if you want. I mean, meth works. It's been proven to work, and I don't think it works nearly as well in PD blowers as people think it does.
Which we'll get it. That could be a whole episode in and of itself. The explanation of why I'm not and he's not a big fan of meth on a blower that intercooler's below it.
And you're injecting pre-blower or anything like that.
Exactly.
But we'll cover that in another topic.
Episode. That's we'll be here all day talking.
Yeah.
Ryan says, what type of gains have y'all seen when swapping from the Roush airbox to the PMOS 120 airbox on Gen 2 TBS?
Did you say model year in that?
No.
Because
assume 15.
We'll assume 15. The PMOS with like a 75 millimeter pulley, you might gain 20 horsepower. PMOS on a 82, closer to like 15.
Because it's 113 versus 120.
Yep.
The 113 Roush, 120 PMOS. Even a JLT version, 123. It's good.
The new JLT is 125, I think. Yep.
Yeah, you'll make more power on any of those. So yeah, it's just a matter of bigger is better.
Yeah. And what you're choking behind it if you're still on a twin 60 or not.
Yeah,
like as you've seen, twin 60 versus a twin 67 is a pretty big difference when you get to the larger pulleys.
So
smaller pulleys.
We were talking about that. My car has a 69 millimeter upper with a 15% lower, and I was having a little bit of surging happening, so I have a twin 67 on it. So this is for tuners. So when I went wide open throttle, it saw like 10.5 hertz around there. So I said, okay, let me just switch the throttle body, keep the same tune in it, and it saw like 9.6 in the same RPM. And we're like,
same cold air,
so it's not flowing nearly as much air. So if I was able to throw a huge throttle body on there, it'll probably be in the 11s, well into the 11s.
Yeah, at least 10.9.
10.9, yeah. It was huffing for sure.
And that's on a PMOS 120.
Yeah, PMOS
showing
120.
10.5 hertz.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that's different than like a Roush cold air at 10.5 hertz.
Exactly.
Because a Roush cold air at 10.5 hertz is like 760, 700 at the crank. Yeah, on the 113. Whereas when you're on the PMOS 120 at 10.5 hertz, that's like 98, 102 pounds a minute.
Right.
Something like that.
Evan says for Alex, an 1150 with full header exhaust, stock intake, tuned on 110 with mild weight reduction, cuts 1.5 at 60s. What would you expect that to run and track on the quarter?
1150 at like 118, 119, around there. Maybe if you can really launch that car, it could be like 11. My car was an 11.7 car at 117, so that car seems about the same. With 110, probably like 11.3 to 11.3 to 11.5, depending on if you can drive or not, and about 120 mile an hour tops. That's my opinion. Opinion. Because I've had that same combo in good air, and the car. No, I didn't launch it with slicks, but I never cut a 1.5 either. The best I cut was like a 1.71 or 1.69 in that car, with some Nitto NT05Rs. Oh,
dang.
Awful tire.
R888.
Luke says, having issues here posting, but he wanted to add a 79 millimeter pulley to my 14 GT stage, 267 throttle body.
Okay.
Should I get bigger injectors for pump 93? Also, is 79 going to be safe to run? Looking for you to tune it at NMRA again in Joliet.
79 and 93 of the stage 2 and a 67 should be fine as long as your
like a phase
93
2, right?
is good quality.
Isn't
Yeah,
it?
I mean it's 1 millimeter smaller than a phase 2 kit.
Right. Roush has upgrade packages. So if you get a Roush Stage 3 Phase 1, it's an 85 millimeter pulley
For 11 and 14.
for 11 and 14, no booster, and a closed air box.
It's a closed air box.
So then you go Phase 2. Does it become open air box at that point or not?
Yeah,
yet?
phase 2 is open air
Open
box.
air box, 80 millimeter pulley.
I think it's still the 85 open cold air intake.
So let's say top tier Phase 3, Stage 3 Phase 3,
3 's
open air box, 80 millimeter pulley,
80 millimeter
and a
pulley.
booster.
Yep.
And still on 47 pound injectors.
Yep.
But your RPM limited also.
To 7,000 RPM.
Exactly. So there you go. You can replay that over and over so you can go, okay.
So
Read
there
between
you
the
go.
lines.
Yeah, exactly.
And Jason wants to know, why do you guys prefer tuning the factory Coyote cars versus the Ford Performance control pack?
Either.
I mean, I think in previous videos we've said that we prefer
Oh.
a stock ECU,
There's
mainly in like automatic cars.
Like I'd rather have a Win 3
Yeah,
than a control pack.
yeah. The
all day.
control pack ECU, they do some weird stuff with like cold start or CSER idle control stuff,
Right.
and they reconfigure the intercooler. The IET2, you can't use a traditional IET2 with a control pack. You have to wire it in through the MAF like we do with the
15 and up,
15s.
right.
Whereas if you use a stock ECU, you can wire it in through, I think it's pins 33 and 52 or something like that through
Right.
through the stock connector, and we don't have to run a jumper harness over anything. But it's just easier when you're not trying to work around all the stuff that Ford did. And the control pack ECUs, you can't do OSS. Because it's disabled in their stock.
Right, because they assume you have like a Tremec behind it or some
Exactly.
Turbo 400.
They
or
want you to
whatever.
use like a Dakota Digital Speedo box and stuff. Whereas if you use the what comes stock on a car, we'll call it like Win 3 or DZW3 or something like that.
FXB7.
It has FXB7. It has OSS in there, so you just make sure that ECU is penned right and you can read it all through the OBD2 port.
It's easier there.
Yeah.
Angela wants to know, what's your thoughts on using a 5.4 iron block on a 13 GT 500?
If you break your block, it's certainly a cheaper option.
Yep.
Good luck finding a
Finding
plasma
5.8.
volley block.
Yeah, it's fine. Just have to, it'll tune similar. So
Yeah,
it's
and
not, the block's the block, just displacement at that point.
Weighs like what, 60 pounds more, I think.
Yeah, you'll have a pretty sweet rake. So if you're born in the 70s, you'll know, exactly what a rake is, and you'll be fit right in. Get some Krager SSs, and you're good to go.
No, it'll work fine.
It'll work fine, yeah.
Yeah.
No one knows what a Krager SS is in this room. No
I know
one.
what Krager SS is.
Get out. What's a Krager SS?
5 spokes. They're like,
Okay.
they kind of like have a
But they
fat
also
spoke.
had the flat, like the 10 holes though, without the holes, or the drag lights without the holes. They were Kragers. I don't know if it was an SS.
In my mind, the Krager SS is like a 5-spoke, really wide spoke. They have like a black face, silver inset,
Yep.
and They're kind of like the original Mach 1 / bullet wheel to me.
Yep, the bullet wheel, basically.
Yeah.
It's like a copy of the bullet wheel.
Yeah.
That with the foot pedal that looks like a foot.
The foot
and the
chain link steering wheel.
Yeah. Ooh, baby.
Punisher logo on the back
dates
window.
all day. I mean, they just line up.
Alex, this is for you. We're going to go over to YouTube.
Okay.
Can I trade in my 17 GT that I've made 3 payments on for a 2018 and be better off?
Yes. Yeah. 800,000. I cannot believe the rash of people that have a 15 to 17 S550 see tuner shops go fast in cars because that's their job. It is our job to make these cars fast. And they straight up go, okay, I'm selling my car. I mean, you're into it for, I don't know, $25,000, $6,000. And you're going to trade that in. They're going to roll that over. And you're going to have a $55,000, $56,000 base Mustang 18. And then what? You don't have any money to put in it, all this stuff. Can't feed your baby, Enfamil, all that. It's over. It's over. Look, leave it alone. The 15 and 17 Mustangs are great. Just throw a blower on it. You're good to go. Just stop messing around.
If you've got the money to blow, feel free to get an 18 though.
Get an 18, yeah. If you got the money, you like paying 11% on a car and $500, $800 car payments, go for it.
Or if you're one of those guys that spent $100, $200 extra each month on your 17 to try and get it paid off.
No one does that. Who does
I do that.
You do that, but no one else does that. Everyone's like, oh, I got $100 left over. Let me get a tuner,
Go to Starbucks and get a coffee every morning.
Yeah, exactly. Or a pack of cigarettes.
Cody says that his uncle had a set of Craigers on his minivan.
Sweet. Minivan.
Was it an Aerostar?
Ooh.
With an 8.8?
Oh man, what was what was the Chevy version of the van? The Astro van.
I saw an
Astro van.
Astro with
Yep.
an extended Astro.
Did you ever see the
with
four-wheel
dual
drive?
axle?
Four-wheel drive Astro vans were the rage in Massachusetts.
Well,
four-wheel drive Astro
wouldn't that be kind of like an Oldsmobile Bravada?
Yeah, it's just basically just taller.
Yeah. A lot
the
of
engine was like on your
Florida,
legs.
a lot of like business owners love the Astros. Like I see a lot of painters, hardware guys, and
I still do.
vacuum truck guys.
Yeah. That was a great little van.
I have one
Painting
more,
has to
and then
work
we'll
on
go back to the
Hitman
PRI
arms,
question.
either arms for days.
Go ahead, Carrie.
Because we only have like 3 minutes left.
Oh, it's all
Okay.
good. It's flying.
So, someone wants to know your ghost cam thoughts. What are your thoughts on ghost cams?
They're spooky. It's
Yeah,
scary.
It's so scary.
I go, what?
They make all the noises.
There's a ghost cam. Who?
You're sitting there, bibbity bobbity
Bibbidi
bibbity bobbity
bobbidi bobbidi, and then you give it gas and it goes nowhere because there's nothing happening.
It's just
look,
like sock.
Yeah, if you want to sound like a LS bro, Publix or Kroger meet Friday night, man, go for it, man. It's all you, man. We're not doing that. Sorry.
Yeah.
It was an Astro van, by the way.
I knew it. Krager's on an Astro van?
That could be pretty
Yeah,
sweet.
Craigers on an Astro van.
5 3/4 bolt pattern, or
Man.
5 on 4 3/4 bolt pattern.
Yep. Chevy bolt pattern.
Yep.
So I have 2 questions, and I guess we could go to the PRI question and be done because we have about 2 minutes left, y'all. So
All good.
Arnie wants to know max horsepower out of a stock 11 Coyote engine.
I mean,
all the way up.
All the way, yeah, exactly. Whatever the rods will take
For that dyno pull.
For that dyno pull, you can make 1,000 once. I made in the lower 7s for a long time. I would not recommend it, but I would say 650 to 700, safe. Anything above that, you're just rolling dice.
Cody said the Craigers stuck out 3 inches on each side
Oh,
of the Astro van.
that offset dough.
Man.
All the
You put
offset.
fender flares on it though?
Fender flares. That's what they do now. I saw an RX-7 or RX-8 with fender flares when it didn't need them because the wheels were tucked into the stock stuff. I was like,
man.
what in the...
Well, those are his daily wheels. He puts the show car wheels on that
The
have
stand
more
stuff
offset.
goes on and... Oh, wait, gotta go
Don't
to
want
the
to wear
meet.
out the tires on the way to the meet.
Chris says, I got a 14 with the Roush Phase 2 kit on it. How much real wheel could you get out of it with a good tune?
Is he talking NA?
No, Roush Phase
Roush
2.
Phase 2?
I would say...
620 on 93.
With a Roush blower, with an elbow, I mean, yeah, with an elbow, with a bigger clear, 620 on 93, yeah. But you have to have all the supporting mods.
Yeah.
And with that said, we have about 1 minute. So if we could go back to the PRI question, did you see anything that you think would change the industry?
Change the industry.
What's going to change the industry, Alex?
What's going to change the industry?
Electric vehicles.
Yeah.
Tesla.
Tesla's going out there giving you 8-second cars that
Raping
go
everybody.
0 to 60, in 2 seconds. They're just putting
was that Roadster car out at PRI?
No, it wasn't there. Oh
everyone's
no, that would be
talking
like,
about?
oh
That
my
would've
god,
been the thing to change
electric. Oh, this is a performance. Trust me, that car is nasty. But
What do you mean there's an alternator mounted each wheel?
Exactly. A PRI, I didn't see anything that stuck out that made me go, oh my god, this is going to change the industry. The 2650 was everywhere. The rotor pack, not just our blower, but the ZR1 has a 2650. The new GT500 will have a 2650. The Ford Performance blower has a 2650. That was the...
Was that the thing that breaks the world? Is it 2650?
It has to be, because I didn't see anything else that people were talking about. That's all we were getting questions on. Ford, Magnuson, us, Eaton, sharing the 2650 rotor pack was the buzz of all of PRI. Sorry, I was there.
At least in our circles.
Well, in our circles, yeah. If you're selling toolboxes and, I'm sure some caster
or
that
billet LS heads and billet LS blocks.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're in that world, go for it, but
I wonder what junkyard they get billet LS blocks.
Well,
is it like
LQ4s? I mean, LQ4s
like Area 51? Area 51's junkyard has billet LS blocks made out of unobtainium.
Could you imagine buying billet everything and then you go, that's a junkyard motor right there. I mean, it's an LQ4 basically. It's all billet junk. Sorry, we just got off on a billet tangent.
Not to offend the guys making billet blocks.
Exactly.
It's just a little LS joke.
LS jokes. That's what we do all day.
We'll take a billet block.
Yeah, I'll take it.
For a Coyote.
Yeah.
We don't need them, but we'll take them.
We'll take it. So yeah, nothing really that stuck out, but 2650 in our circle. That's what tended to stick out at PRI. It was a lot of fun. Oh, also, potentially converters being made for the 6R80 by Neil Chance. That is the other big news that I thought was really neat. In a couple of months, they might start offering converters for 6R80 guys.
That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Circle D does a good job as it stands.
They do a great job, yeah. But
it'd be nice to have someone else in the market breeds
competition.
Yeah,
competition, and both companies will get better. So Circle D has great products. 2C, 3C is like the staple. But
4F, 5F.
Qs. But Neil Chan's coming into it. It's gonna be a whole bunch of fun this
It'd be great for the consumers.
Absolutely. You'll see 7-second 6R80s this year. I guarantee it. Guaranteed. And with that,
that's a wrap. Thanks everyone for tuning in to Tuning Tuesdays. We'll be back next week.
Can you spin all the way around?
With another live performance. So if you guys have questions, we'll have you get them ready, and that way the guys can answer.
You blocked.
Oh, I blocked? Okay.
You can't block me.
Okay, thank you.
Have fun, guys.